Hey, that's Lady Liberty to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I also had the Constitution on my mind. I call this the American people. We the people, we the American people, should be an inclusive phrase, but far too often it's synonymous with white people. But it shouldn't be an exclusive phrase according to the Constitution of the United States. Some American people don't acknowledge or fail to realize that the Constitution is both a historical and a living document. It is not written upon stone, but rather hemp. Words written upon stone tablets are set in place. Hemp, however, is a plant product. As anyone with a green thumb can tell you, when you nurture your plants, they will grow and thrive, just like our Constitution, just like our country. The very reason our Constitution has amendments is so it can be changed through thoughtful process as we nurture our country for its continued growth and success. Founded upon the notion of freedom, historically bound by the ties of discrimination by our founding fathers, who were not gods, but merely a reflection of the prejudices of their time. Over time, we've held truths to be self-evident that all people, inclusively, are created equal and deserve equal protection under the law. What have the women and men of the armed forces fought for if not our constitutional rights? When we face injustice, we, the American people, inclusively, have a right to protest peacefully. But for people of color, the dominant narrative doesn't want us to protest at all. There's never a good time for us to protest. It's always too soon or somehow ironically unpatriotic. The American people exclusively only want people of color to protest on our own time and where no one can see us or hear us. Even when we're not protesting, but in the course of doing some everyday activity, people of color may find themselves immersed in an impromptu protest when suddenly accosted by a white person who sees the color of their skin as a badge of authority and permission to interrogate a person of color, whose skin, as they see, as probable cause. I'll note that the dominant narrative is becoming a little less racist when the media starts questioning why a stranger thinks they have the authority to accost and interrogate any person of color who happens to cross their path. I used to marvel at how young people could hold such racist ideas as I would associate with an older person. Then I realized that was just me being an ageist. I also used to have this bias that cultural inheritance was this positive thing and that only uncultured people were racist. But that was just me using a narrow definition of culture. The truth is, Grandma's secret recipe for apple pie is passed down to the younger generations along with her racism. One family tradition could be covering up racism like hastily tossing a beautiful throw rug over dog shit just before the guests arrive. Then pretending that it no longer exists because it's no longer seen, but everyone in the family knows it's there because they pivot to avoid stepping in it. If a guest or a friend unaware of the family tradition detects the stench of racism, the family is offended, embarrassed. Why, look at how clean this beautiful throw rug is. How dare you think it stinks? You must be smelling something else. If the unaware accidentally steps in racism, the family denies the experience. Why, that's just the way this throw rug is made. Y'all must make your throw rugs differently where you're from, but why don't you just stand over here if it'll make you feel more comfortable? So, we're sidestepping shit, covering up shit, politely not talking about shit, and surprise, surprise, it doesn't go away. The stench lingers because it's fresh shit applied every day, growing and nurturing the products of racism with roots so deep they extend back down to when one's ancestors were immigrants to this land themselves, or slaves. All those multicolored, huddled masses, wave after wave, seeking a better life in the land of opportunity, hungry for a seat at the table, but they don't come empty-handed. They bring the flavors of their grandmother's secret recipes to the potluck. Remember back in the day when we used to kid ourselves that we, the American people, were one big melting pot? As any good cook will tell you, you can't throw everything into the pot and expect it to taste good. Some ingredients will clash. What you can do is offer a variety of dishes on a buffet, then have a taste of different things. After all, isn't variety the spice of life? But for every Epicurean, there's always a meat and potatoes person who just loathes spicy food. The question is, which one is more patriotic? The very manner in which you answer that question reveals how you view what it means to be we the American people. For example, on the surface you may find it ridiculous to argue whether real chili has beans. But while in Texas, I'd advise you to say it doesn't, which is in agreement with the Texas House Concurrent Resolution number 18, 65th Legislature, regular session in 1977. Texas chili has no beans. If you want to go a step further, call it chili con carne, even if that's the only Spanish you speak, because for the ancestral Mexican women who created this dish, the border crossed them, not the other way around. And yet, some people would become hotter than chili con carne at the mere suggestion that this is a Mexican dish rather than a Texan dish. After all, everyone knows Texas chili has no beans, which was resolved in legislature. And while we're at it, let's throw in a pinch of cultural appropriation and a dash of historical omissions, stir slowly from the bottom as it simmers with unacknowledged racism, sexism, and any other ism the PC detectives uncover, because isn't that the American way? We're not going to acknowledge anything bad unless the pot boils over or its contents gives us the shits or the shit hits the fan, because that's also the American way. We the people. We, the American people, grateful for our freedom and to those who have sworn to defend our Constitution and fight enemies foreign and domestic, the very least we, the American people, can do to honor our veterans is contribute to and nurture a society worthy of their sacrifice.